The following video is not made for kids. Viewer discretion is advised. Hello to my subscribers, this is the TFangy coming to you with what will hopefully be a quick and successful video review. It's late at night and so I apologize beforehand, but I won't be able to do all the size comparisons I wanted to do for the review. So I might do a second part of the video review later on. I'm still undecided at this point. But for now anyways, let's take a look at the Target exclusive Transformers Studio Series More Than Meets the Eye collection. This is the Transformers Devastation, Elite Seeker, and Ground Soldier 2-pack. This is the largest of six Transformers figures that were released under the Target exclusive Transformers More Than Meets the Studio Series More Than Meets the Eye collection banner. These are Target exclusive Transformers here in the United States, and they're defined by this design on the box art, where you've got these red stripes along the box, and then the images, the box art for the Transformers characters are done in black and white imaging to show that it's a Target exclusive instead of a mass retail product. The Elite Seeker and Ground Soldier 2-pack, it's the only 2-pack of these of the More Than Meets the Eye collection, and because it's one Voyager and one Deluxe class figure, with its retail price of $60, it's the largest and most expensive of the More Than Meets the Eye collection Studio Series Transformers. It's also currently the most hard to find of the six Target exclusive Studio Series Transformers figures for 2025. The Elite Seeker and Ground Soldier 2-pack, it originally came out earlier this year around July of 2025, which was the same time that the Voyager class Studio Series More Than Meets the Eye collection Deluxe Perceptor with the two core class figures of the cassette bots of Decepticon Ratbat and Autobot Ramhorn. Around the same time that was the Perceptor pack came out, this 2-pack was released. But unlike Perceptor, which was easy for collectors to find, the Elite Seeker and Ground Soldier 2-pack, it was released in limited quantities, and it became very fast for collectors to find everywhere. Not all Target stores had this 2-pack in stock, and those that did get it in stock only got it in stock, I believe, just one time, and then that was it. They never restocked this. Last month in October of 2025, when the other four Transformers in this Target exclusive subline were released, which I showed in my most recent collection haul video the other day, two of the figures released were the Deluxe class figures of also from the Transformers Devastation video game, like these two figures are based on. There was Deluxe class Wheeljack and Sideswipe, and then there were two Voyager class figures of Optimus Prime and Megatron, which were from the War for Cybertron video game. Supposedly those versions had slightly more accurate paint jobs to their video game appearances in the War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron video game compared to the mass retail Studio Series Gamer Edition versions of those two figures. And the Elite Seeker and Ground Soldier 2-pack, it was released for a second time when those four Transformers were released for the first time last month in October, but once again it was in very limited quantities. And so for me personally, from my own experience, of the six Transformers Target exclusive Studio Series More Than Meets the Eye collection Transformers, the 2-pack of the Transformers Devastation, Elite Seeker, and Ground Soldier, it's been the hardest to find out of all of them. One of the reasons why it's so hard to find and why a lot of people have been looking for this 2-pack is because, as their names imply, of Elite Seeker and Ground Soldier, these are army building Transformers characters / action figures. They have no individual names and no individual personalities. They're basically the two types of Decepticon Trooper Transformers that appeared in the Transformers Devastation video game. The Ground Soldiers were the Decepticons who traveled on the surface streets and fought the Autobots directly, while the Elite Seekers were the Decepticons Air Force who flew over the skies. And so, because they're army building Transformers, some Transformers fans and collectors who enjoy army building have tried to find and buy multiple copies of the Elite Seeker and the Ground Soldier. I myself, I was able to army build on these guys. I'm going to say it right now, I managed to buy 4 copies of these guys, but none of them I was able to find at my local Target store. I got all of them off of Amazon. I believe they're still available for Amazon, but unfortunately scalpers are selling this 2-pack on Amazon right now, so you will pay more than Target's price tag of $60. I'm personally hoping that before the current month of November of 2025, when I'm recording this video, that I'm hoping that Target will restock this 2-pack for the Christmas shopping season for 2025 for collectors who still haven't been able to find it, or for those who did find one copy and they want to buy more to army build. I hope Target will release this one more time for the Christmas shopping season for the end of this year. So fingers crossed that that happens. So, the Elite Seeker and Ground Soldier, they're both repaints with some slight retooling of previously released Transformers figures. The Elite Seeker is a straight-up repaint of Earthrise Ramjet, who recently a few years ago, was re-released in the Legacy United line. Actually, last year is when Ramjet was re-released in the Legacy United line. And the Ground Soldier is a repaint of the mold that was used for Transformers Earthrise, Runabout, and Runamuck, which I reviewed a few weeks ago. After having them in their boxes for 5 years, I finally decided to get Runabout and Runamuck released, and I was almost considered leaving them in their boxes and having the Ground Soldier be the first version of this mold that I unboxed, transformed, and held in my hands. But I'm kind of glad I changed my mind and decided to review Runabout and Runamuck. One of the reasons I was motivated to do that is that recently Earthrise Ramjet was one of the Transformers action figures that's been given a re-release. A lot of the Transformers action figures that were released over the last roughly 5 years, from 2020 to the current year of 2025, those that were hard to find because either of COVID or retailers not wanting to order the Transformers figures in mass numbers, or a combination of both those things. A lot of Transformers action figures that were hard to find have been getting re-released, and so a lot of fans and collectors are hoping that Runabout will join Runamuck in being given a reissue. Target announced that at the end of this month of November of 2025, Earthrise Thrust will be given a re-release. It appears that Thrust will come in his original Earthrise box. It won't be like the re-releases of Ramjet and also Dirge, who were released in Legacy packaging when they were originally released in Earthrise. Thrust will be released in his original Earthrise box. But bringing focus back on these guys, visually, the Elite Seeker, he's basically a dark, I want to say like a dark, I'm slightly colorblind, so I can't tell if it's supposed to be a dark gray or a dark green, but he's basically a darker version of Ramjet, while the Ground Soldier is basically a light blue version of Runabout and Runamuck. Actually, but I did say there was some slight retooling, and between the two of them, the Ground Soldier, he does have a brand new head sculpt that wasn't used either for Runabout or Runamuck, so that's the one retooled part of the actual figures. And the other quote-unquote retooling is that they both come with new weapons, which are swords. So that's pretty interesting. For the box art, you've got the Ground Soldier and the Elite Seeker in their robot modes and their alt modes. Again, the Elite Seeker arms into a fighter jet, and he's a straight-up repaint of Ramjet, while the Ground Soldier, being mold mates with Runabout and Runamuck, transforms into a sports car. The Ground Soldier transforms in 16 steps, while the Elite Seeker transforms in 25 steps. And on the sides of the boxes, you've got the same, a zoomed-in version of the same artwork of their robot modes on the front of the box. And again, this red striping on the box is to let you know that this is a Target store exclusive here in the United States, and it's not being sold at mass retail. Going around to the back of the box, you've got your official product photos. You've got the Elite Seeker in robot mode and jet mode, and here are the new weapons. The Elite Seeker comes with a pair of dual swords, which some fans and collectors were quick to point out that they're done in the same style as Optimus Primal's swords, but they are not the same swords that came with the Transformers Kingdom Voyager class Optimus Primal figure back in 2021. They are brand new swords. Same thing with the single sword that the Ground Soldier comes with, and here's the alt modes for both of them. And just like the individually released Sideswipe and Wheeljack versions, and also Studio Series Devastation Optimus Prime, who was released at mass retail at the start of this year, you get cell shade paint jobs, which is based on their appearances in the Transformers Devastation video game. So you got some screenshots of the Elite Seeker and Ground Soldier as they appeared in the Devastation video game up here on the top of the box. And again, 25 steps for the Seeker, 16 steps for the Soldier. And cell shade animation. It was used on back in 2004. It was used for what is regarded as one of the least popular Transformers series of all time, Transformers Energon. Cell shade animation. It's almost like it's not quite three-dimensional animation. It's basically adding light and shadow to traditional two-dimensional animation. And so, even though this term doesn't actually exist, a cell shade animation is basically 2.5-dimensional animation. And so, to mimic the cell shaded animation from the Devastation video game, the Transformers action figures based off it, they have this paint job where there's slightly brighter paint apps on the windows. It was just to mimic the cell shade animation from the video game. And one thing to note about the Elite Seeker and Ground Soldier is that unlike the original Earthrise Ramjet and Runabout and Runamuck, the windows used for the cockpit and windshields for their vehicle modes, unlike the original versions of these molds, they are not done in clear plastic, they're done in solid plastic. And so in terms of stability and longevity, these action figures will last longer than the original releases, since they're made entirely out of solid plastic and there's no clear plastic found on them. So that's one thing that makes them special from their original releases. And then up here on this side of the box, right below their names, their one-sentence bio, which repeats in 5 languages, reads, "These two Decepticons enjoy blowing things up and smashing them to pieces." So yeah, that's what the as I said before, the Elite Seeker and Ground Soldier, they don't have individual names or identities. They're basically the Trooper Decepticons from the Devastation video game. As you can see by the screenshot of the Ground Soldier, there's 3 of them here in this screenshot from the video game used on the back of the box. The Elite Seeker, there's no duplicates on that screenshot from the video game. Yeah, I do like for the Ground Soldier, at least it shows you that since these are army building characters with multiple copies of them existing. For me personally, when it comes to army building Transformers characters and action figures, 4 is my personal favorite number to collect. Since I think 4 is a decent sized number to army build without buying too many copies of the figure. So with that said, that's pretty much all there is to say. So let's get these guys out of their box and take a close look at them in their robot modes. Alright, and so here are the Elite Seeker and the Ground Soldier out of the box and transformed into their robot mode. As I said, I bought 4 copies of this 2-pack, so I was able to successfully army build it. And yeah, they're mold mates with Earthrise Ramjet and Runabout and Runamuck respectively. So here's the Elite Seeker, same head sculpt that was used on Earthrise Ramjet, and I love the solid orange plastic used for the cockpit. And of course, the new weapons are the swords. One nice thing that Hasbro did is that in addition to the swords, you've also got the null rays that most Seekers come packaged with. And then here's the Ground Soldier. The one new sculpted part between both figures is the Ground Soldier's new head sculpt. He's got a visor and a mouth plate. Runabout and Runamuck both come with actual eyeballs, and the mouth plates they have are different designs, and the shapes of their heads are designed differently from the Ground Soldier. So yeah, pretty nice there. The Transformers Devastation video game, I can't remember the year it came out, but the Transformers Collectors Club versions of Runabout and Runamuck, which were released, which are very hard to find exclusives, they served as inspiration for the Ground Soldier when it was designed for the Transformers Devastation video game. So the action figure of the Ground Soldier being a repaint and retool of Earthrise Runabout and Runamuck, it's come full circle where the Ground Soldier is basically the Trooper Decepticons who utilize the same protoform as Runabout and Runamuck. So yeah, it's a nice bit of irony that Runabout and Runamuck inspired the video game design of this character, and the Earthrise versions of Runabout and Runamuck were repainted and retooled into this character as well. So, yeah, pretty nice there. You can see the shell shade animation on the Ground Soldier more than you can on the Elite Seeker, especially with that stripe there. This is the fake, this is the faux windshield for the vehicle mode, but even the actual one, which sits on the back in robot mode, you can see that there. And they used almost the same cell shade on both the fake windshield and the actual windshield, so that's nice that they did that. And then, of course, you got the new sword. Like the swords for the Elite Seeker, the sword for the Ground Soldier is brand new. It wasn't previously released on any Transformers action figures. Now, I apologize, I wasn't able to find my copy of Earthrise Ramjet or any of the other versions of this mold. I believe the Elite Seeker might be either the third or fourth direct repaint of Earthrise Ramjet. I'm not counting Dirge or Thrust. I'm just counting the Seeker jets that use the exact same wing design as Ramjet. There was a G1 Ramjet who was used in Earthrise, G2 Ramjet, G2 Sandstorm, Cloud Cover, and a over end. Yeah, I think that's it. The Elite Seeker is the fifth figure that's a straight up use of the Earthrise Ramjet mold without utilizing the same wing design and not using the wing designs for Dirge or Thrust. Stand up. But for a size comparison, here is the Ground Soldier next to Earthrise Runabout and Runamuck. Okay, so you can see it more with Runamuck if I shield his head from my bedroom lamp. You can see the different head sculpts there between them all. This is just a minor nitpick for me, but I kind of wish that the back window, I wish it would have been done in the same paint job as the front and side windows for the Ground Soldier, but I guess they did it that way since it's accurate to the video game and they wanted it to look like there's a second engine there on the back instead of it being an actual window. But that's just a minor nitpick for me. I am not going to transform because it's very late, 8 at night right now, and I want to make sure I get to bed right away. I'm not going to transform Runabout and Runamuck, so I apologize for not doing an alt mode size comparison of them with the Ground Soldier. But yeah, overall, for being straight up repaints of the action figures that they're mold mates with, I think the Ground Soldier and the Elite Seeker are pretty fantastic Transformers figures. And just for a random size comparison, my go-to size comparison Transformers figure, here they are next to Legacy United G1 Optimus Prime. And yeah, he's still a pretty small size deluxe class Transformers figure. I know this is the incorrect version of Optimus Prime to do a size comparison with, but I apologize for not being able to find my Studio Series Devastation Optimus Prime figure. I may bring the Ground Soldier and Elite Seeker back when I do Devastation Sideswipe and Wheeljack. Okay. But yeah, there they are one more time in their robot mode. I won't go into articulation too much since I covered it in my previous reviews of them. Pretty standard joints, and even with the new weapons, you can still get some pretty decent action poses between the two of them. So, without further delay, let's hurry up and get these guys transformed into their alt modes and wrap up the review. Alright, here they are transformed into their alt modes, and like I said, straight up repaints of Earthrise Ramjet and Runabout and Runamuck, but for what they are being repaints, the designers at Hasbro's Tomy, I personally think, did a fairly good job. So, because of that, what they have going for them is their new paint job. So here is the Elite Seeker. Like I said, I'm slightly colorblind, so I can't tell if it's supposed to be green or gray, the main paint job. I think it might be a gunmetal gray, with a green tint to it. But yeah, there's the Elite Seeker. You got the Decepticon on faction symbols, which are purple with no outline, painted on both of the wings. You can see it right there if I hold it at this angle, shining off my bedroom lamp. You got the silver null rays at the base of the wings, just like on Earthrise Ramjet. Now, for storage of the Elite Seeker's two swords, the instructions and the photo on the back of the box say that you're supposed to plug the swords into the 5mm ports here on the robot mode leg, but I saw in another review where someone put it on the a 5mm port for the robot mode arm, where you plug the null rays in robot mode, and then have the swords with the curved part facing like this, and that doesn't fully hide the swords away when the Elite Seeker's in jet mode, but that's the best storage you can get it with the new swords. And then here's the cell shade. My bedroom lamps are really reflecting off it, so it's making it difficult to show it off, but right there at that angle, you got the orange paint for the cockpit, and then the yellow striping for the cell shade animation from the mimicking the cell shade animation from the Devastation video game. Trying to straighten the null ray out. Unfortunately, it doesn't line up properly due to a error at the factory where they couldn't quite get the angles correct, so the striping doesn't match up. You can see it right there. From that angle, the striping goes off to the side where the cockpit splits in half when you transform the head, the robot mode head. And so I personally don't care. I'm just glad to have the cockpit done in solid plastic instead of clear plastic to increase the longevity of the figure. But at the same time, some Transformers fan collectors might be OCD about the stripes not matching up. But yeah, pretty fantastic looking paint job for the Earthrise Ramjet mold. And one thing to note is that one of the tail fin pieces, they're attached on where the wings attached to the tail fins at this swivel joint. On one of them, it was off place. It was put. It's like a double swivel joint. Double swivel joint. On one of the wings, it was on the bottom swivel for the wing piece was on the top joint on the tail fin, so I had to just unpeg it and plug it back into place properly. So just keep an eye out to make sure that the wings are attached properly if you get a copy of this 2-pack with the Elite Seeker. Focusing on the ground soldier, he rolls fairly well, just as well as Runabout and Runamuck. And again, because his windows are now solid plastic with paint on them for the cell shade animation, as you can see right there. You got that yellow stripe there on the windshield for the cell shade. There's another yellow stripe here off to the side here of the windshield. And yeah, pretty nice looking paint job for the ground soldier. You got a Decepticon symbol on both sides of the doors as I drop the figure on my table. I kind of miss the days when faction symbols had either white or silver outlines on them, just because it made them stand out more. Or whether or not Hasbro will go back to that someday is uncertain at this point. In terms of paint job, the ground soldier, he has almost the exact same amount of paint job as Runabout and Runamuck. And like I pointed out in robot mode, the back window, it's not unlike Runabout and Runamuck where it matches the paint job on the front and side windows. The back window is painted entirely black, and so I think they're trying to mimic the style of 1980 sports cars where the engine block was on the back of the vehicle and then the front is where the trunk was, or just like Generation 1 Sunstreaker, where there were two engines, one in the front and one in the back. I think that's what they were going for, or in the Devastation video game with the back window being black, while the front and side windows were orange. But yeah, visually it's a pretty decent looking sports car, or as decent as the color as powder blue gets. It's for a vehicle. Powder blue is not one of my favorite colors out there, but I still, make no mistake, I still enjoy having the ground soldier in my Transformers collection. And in terms of paint apps, you got two little blue racing stripes on the hood. You got silver for the headlights. You got the middle section of the front grille painted black, the front bumper painted black. Which that stripe, which continues with that striping on the base of the car. And the one minor nitpick I had with the ground soldier is that unlike Runabout and Runamuck, whose hubcaps are painted white, the ground soldier's hubcaps are unpainted black plastic. But for the paint apps they use throughout the rest of the vehicle, I can I can forgive Hasbro and Takara for leaving the wheels unpainted, because look at these tail lights. The tail lights are painted red, but then the frame is painted black along with the back bumper and also the tail pipes. Those pipes are painted black as well. So yeah, quite a bit of paint apps used here for the ground soldier. Just be mindful of those paint apps though, because they could paint chip off over time. Now, I saw in more than one review where collectors have been having this problem where, unlike Earthrise, Runabout, and Runamuck, the windshield wants to pop up and not peg into place properly. From what I can tell, fiddling around with the ground soldier, in order for the windshield to peg into place properly, what's happening, I don't know if this is mold degradation, since Runabout and Runamuck came out back in 2020 and it's now 2025, so it's been 5 years since this mold was last used. So, like I said, I don't know if the ground soldier is suffering from mold degradation, or if it's a result of the parts being painted plastic. But if you watch this while I'm holding down on the windshield, if you hear that, and if you see that gap right there, the back section doesn't want to sit into place properly, and so if you try to push it down and put it in place properly, that will cause the windshield to pop up. So your choices are either have the back section hold in place properly and have the windshield peep up and have this gap where it looks like someone tried to slash the ground soldier open, or you leave the back section slightly loose and have the front pegged down in place. I don't know why it doesn't do both and it doesn't stay pegged in place properly. Like I said, it could be mold degradation, but don't quote me on that because I'm not certain. If it is mold degradation, then unfortunately that makes the ground soldier, which is only the third use of the Earthrise Runabout and Runamuck version, a figure that suffers from mold degradation. But yeah, overall, I still enjoy, despite that minor defect, I still enjoy how the ground soldier turned out, both of these figures. And like I said, I army built them. I have 4 copies of them. But as of this video we're recording, again, it's very late at night and I wanted to stick to basics and get basic information out. I'll probably post a photo on my YouTube channel when I eventually get all 4 copies unboxed and show them all off together. But for a quick size comparison in alt mode, again with a random transformer, my go-to figure for size comparisons, Legacy United Deluxe Class Optimus Prime, who's arguably one of the smallest Deluxe Class Transformers that's ever been released. So yeah, scale. These 3 figures standing beside each other are proof that scale doesn't matter when it comes to the alt modes of Transformers. But yeah, there's a size comparison with another figure between them. So to wrap up the review for the final proverbial question, do I recommend getting the Elite Seeker and Ground Soldier 2-pack from the Target exclusive Transformers Studio Series More Than Meets the Eye collection? And what a mouthful that was to say. So do I recommend getting the 2-pack of these 2 figures? Absolutely. You cannot go wrong having these figures in your Transformers collection. They're both pretty great. The new sword weapons definitely make them unique, especially compared to the figures they're repainted and retooled from Earthrise Ramjet, Runabout, and Runamuck. If you can army build these Transformers action figures, then I say, yes, I think buying multiple copies of these figures are worth it. But if you're satisfied with just one, then that's fine. I mean, even having 1 copy of these 2 figures in your collection is pretty great looking. I almost thought of giving them names if I had only been able to get 1 copy of them, but since I managed to army build them successfully, I won't be giving them names after all. But yeah, overall, I do enjoy having them in my Transformers collection, and I personally think that they are must-have Transformers action figures, especially if you like army building like I do. So thank you guys all so much for watching. This has been the TFangy. This has been my review of the Transformers Target exclusive Studio Series More Than Meets the Eye collection. Transformers Devastation Elite Seeker and Ground Soldier 2-pack. Counting these 2 figures as 2 separate action figures, which they technically are, there are now 5 Transformers action figures out there based on the Transformers Devastation video game. The other 3, apart from these 2 Decepticons, which are all Autobots, are Optimus Prime, Sideswipe, and Wheeljack. Yeah, I highly recommend getting all these figures if you can. So thank you guys all so much for watching, and until next time, this has been the TFangy. Thank you to all my friends and subscribers for your continued support, and please remember to stay safe, stay healthy, transform, and roll out. Goodbye, everyone.